Hello guys, welcome back to the next one. In this one we will just start from where we left off, and where we left off was the mark final method. Now this is the guy, mark final. This is the guy that's gonna do every single thing. So let's see what it does and how it does. First thing it's gonna do is same thing, self dot set result, and it's gonna provide result and it's gonna provide result message. Once result is set, finally what we're going to do here is we're going to check for failure or successful in the result. So basically this is the final verification. This should be the final step of the test case. We don't need to do any other set result thing. So here we can easily check stuff. This is the final point. So I'm going to check if fail exists in, basically if there, I'm sorry, I'm typing bad. If fail exist in self dot result list. So basically this means that if my result list contains any single fail item, then I first want to log some error. So let me just copy something from here, and you know what, I should just change them to error because this is exception. I don't want to make them as info, so I'm going to change them to error, and this guy also maybe error, so it's more evident when we look in logs. So I'm gonna say here self.log.error, and here to make it more explanatory in the logs we can say the test name. So because this is the final one, right, so I can pass the test name from the test case, and then I can say that this test failed, something like that, maybe test failed. I can report this in the log. So this is just reporting, we haven't asserted anything. Then first thing I want to do here is I want to clear the result list. This is really an important step because if we don't clear it, it's going to keep all these messages and it's going to impact our next test case. So we don't want that one to be impacted. So we want to clear this result list. That's why I'm clearing it. The last thing we want to do here is assert true equals to false. Since we already know that this is a failure case, I want to fail the test case, so I'm asserting true to false, which automatically means that it's going to fail the test case. Else, if there is no fails, then it means that there is no exception and my test was successful. So I'm just going to simply log a good message here. I'm going to say test name plus, and I'm going to say here something like test successful, and this is gonna print good message for me. Finally, I am again gonna clear the result list, definitely, because doesn't matter what the results are, I want to clear the list every time after every test case so we don't impact the next test case. So I'm asserting true to true. That's it. So this makes our completion, and I'll again use it, then it'll be more clear to you. It might take some time for you guys to absorb it, but please go through this code and please utilize it. This is not again something that you need to write on yourself. You can just simply use this code. It's really helpful, and you will remember when you really use it in your framework, you will say, yes, that was the most important thing that I learned, because I have learned from my experience, this is the most important thing that I've wrote. And a lot of times I don't want to fail my test case because of one single failure. And this is a little tricky, but you will love it. You will really like it. So now let's go to the test case. Instead of using these asserts here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, first I'm going to actually import the class. The first thing I want to do here is from utilities. So basically I created that in utilities dot test status, import test status, and I want to create an object of that. So self dot maybe I'm just going to say ts right now. I just want to keep it short. So test status and self dot driver, sorry for that, self dot driver, and we just instantiated it. Now I can just say right here self dot ts dot mark the first one, and in the mark one I'm just gonna say result 1, and result messages maybe title is incorrect, and we should always give opposite message. I think you might remember this from the PyTest and unit test lectures. We should always give negative error messages, negative result messages, so that when we debug, we know that something really negative happened, something bad happened that we didn't want to happen in the test case. Now let's remove this. Since this is the last verification point for us in this method, I'm gonna say ts.mark final. So remember this, mark final should always be the last one. We are finally marking something, and these ones are just marked. They're gonna just keep track of the list. They're not gonna assert anything. Finally, the list will be asserted here. Now this guy takes something different. So let me just again show you. Mark final. This takes the test name. So maybe I can provide the test name as test, and maybe valid login. This is our test name. You can provide anything else as well, doesn't matter. Just whatever fits you, whatever you think is going to be helpful to you in the logs. Then result 2 is the result for this verification point, and then the result is login was not successful, or maybe you can say positive also. I mean, it just depends, whatever suits you, whatever you think is beneficial to you, just put that. So I really would just say use up to your convenience. These are just messages for you to understand. So if it doesn't make sense for you to use negative messages, please use positive ones, honestly. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna quickly run this code and I'm gonna show you how it works. So let's clear the console, and there are no logs also. It's gonna generate the log. So let's bring it up. It should just try to do login, and it's gonna fail on the verification of the title, and it'll just close it. Already, so it failed the test, and we see it from here. But let's verify that it ran the complete lines. And how we can verify? In our automation log. So I'm gonna open the automation log and I'm gonna show you. So first it went, let me just maximize it. So first it executed the test, and looks like it's, let's see, where is that? Okay, title is incorrect. So it verified something here. It came from test status, and it's saying title is incorrect. Then it didn't stop. If you notice, it again found the user settings icon. If you guys can see this user settings icon, it again found it, and then it said verification successful, login was not successful. It's just error message. Basically you can just say login successful, but here you can see verification successful. And then but finally it says test failed. Why? Because there was one failure. So this makes us know that there was a single failure, and that's why we failed the test. This is really important to understand. So if you, as I mentioned, if you don't feel comfortable with negative messages, just say login was successful, and just say here is title verified or something. Maybe you can say some these kind of messages like title verified. So when you run them, you know, okay, this was the verification point, but yeah, it failed. And you know what, always delete these log messages because we are appending. So in the next run, if you do, you will get the old logs as well. So please delete them. So now let's again run it this time, if these messages makes more sense. Alrighty, so let it run, and I'm gonna quit the browser afterwards. I'll see you in the next lectures, guys. So always, please always feel free to ask questions and just practice. So this is done. Let's open the automation log and maximize it. And here you go. Title verified was the failed verification, and this one was verification successful, login successful. That's about it, guys. That's what I wanted to show you. Please download this code. It's really helpful, and this is something that you don't need to write again. You can just simply use that in your test framework. And I'll see you in the next lectures. Thanks for running this one.